I'm glad you could join us for our 7:30 news bulletin. My name is Tandi Wenzumara. First, the headlines. Pope Leo XIV meets with Venezuelan opposition leader in a surprise audience. Anti-Corruption Bureau ACB awaits cabinet nod for lifestyle audit manual. Food price drop drives inflation decline as Reserve Bank of Malawi assures of improved cost of living. And in other news, Uganda shuts down internet ahead of election, orders rights groups to halt work. We do have the details to these stories and more. Just stay with us. At the end of a Monday morning filled with meetings at the Vatican's Apostolic Palace, Pope Leo XIV received Maria Corina Machado, the former member of the Venezuelan National Assembly who was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in October 2025. The meeting took place about 10 days after the capture of Nicolas Maduro and his wife Celia Flores during the United States military operation known as Operation Absolute Resolve on the 3rd of January in the Venezuelan capital, Caracas. Maduro, accused of drug trafficking and narco-terrorism, is currently being held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, United States. We have more details in this Vatican News report read by Phyllis Chizombe.
A Venezuelan politician and human rights activist, Machado leads the liberal conservative party Frente Venezuela, which has also opposed Maduro's government. Forced to flee the country, she traveled to Oslo in December to receive the Nobel Peace Prize. This week, while Venezuela is being governed on an interim basis by Delcy Rodriguez, and while work is underway on a transition supported by the international community, Machado is expected in Washington for a meeting with President Donald Trump, according to statements made by him. During his Angelus address on January 4th, the day after Maduro's capture, during which about 80 people, including Venezuelan and Cuban military personnel and civilians, were killed, Pope Leo said he was following developments in Venezuela with deep concern. Speaking from the window of the Apostolic Palace, the Holy Father expressed hope that the good of the beloved Venezuelan people would prevail over every other consideration, and that this should lead to the overcoming of violence and to the pursuit of paths of justice and peace, guaranteeing the sovereignty of the country. He then called for the respect of the human and civil rights of each and every person and to work together to build a peaceful future of cooperation, stability and harmony, with special attention to the poorest who are suffering because of the difficult economic situation. Pope Leo reiterated his appeal during the January 9th meeting with the diplomatic corps accredited to the Holy See. Referring to Venezuela, he urged efforts to build a society founded on justice, truth, freedom and fraternity, and thus enable the nation to rise from the grave crisis that has afflicted it for so many years. He also invited all to respect the will of the Venezuelan people and to safeguard the human and civil rights of all, ensuring a future of stability and concord.
The newly appointed Provincial Superior for the Daughters of St. Paul in East Africa, Sister Janet Angala, has urged young and aspiring girls to be open to God's will as they consider joining religious life. In an interview with Luntha television, Sister Angala described religious life as joyful yet challenging, emphasizing that openness to God's guidance makes the journey smooth and fulfilling. She joined the congregation in 2023 and hails from Kisoko Parish in the Diocese of Bungoma, Kenya. Here is part of what Sister Angala had to say.
It's a huge responsibility My understanding is still very limited, but I believe God is there, the congregation is there, and there have been leaders who I can count on as mentors, and they can help me if I am open enough to consult them and to be also like available for them, because the duty I have, the responsibility that has been given to me is to make sure that the congregation goes forward in this province of ours, that is EM's province. We call it EM's, standing for East Africa, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, South Sudan, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and Malawi.
Acting Director for Corruption Prevention at the Anti-Corruption Bureau ACB, Susan Mduapiri, has revealed that the lifestyle audit manual aimed at curbing corruption among public officials is still awaiting cabinet approval. In an interview with Luntha television, Piri emphasized that the fight against corruption requires a collaborative effort involving government, the private sector, and citizens alike. She said Malawi has numerous strategies in place to prevent corruption, including the ongoing implementation of the National Anti-Corruption Strategy number 2, which adopts a holistic approach to tackling the vice. Charity Kiranga has more details.
Piri explained that the strategy allows multiple platforms for reporting corrupt practices, including a toll-free line and a mobile application, ACB Connect, available on the Play Store to enable citizens to report corruption. On the Lifestyle Audit Initiative, Piri said the Corrupt Practices Act provides the mandate to conduct audits, though currently on a small scale targeting public officials. She noted that the manual, which is ready, is still pending cabinet approval. Once approved, it will facilitate a collaborative approach among all enforcement agencies to conduct proactive audits, profiling individuals even if no charges have been filed, to trace the source of their wealth.
You might be aware that the Corrupt Practices Act gives us the mandate to conduct lifestyle audits, though on a small scale, because it actually involves only public officials. But at the moment, we have a lifestyle audit manual ready that is just waiting for cabinet approval. It hasn't been taken yet, but steps are underway so that we can bring together all law enforcement agencies to work together so that we have a collaboration in conducting these lifestyle audits.
Piri added that proactive lifestyle audits will enhance accountability and transparency in public service. She urged government and enforcement agencies to embrace coordinated efforts, emphasizing that corruption prevention is not the sole responsibility of the state, but it requires engagement from all sectors of the society.
The Ministry of Lands, Urban Development and Housing has warned citizens across the country to immediately stop engaging in land grabbing and corrupt practices in the acquisition of land or face the full force of the law. Minister responsible Ishmael Chipungu told Luntha television that the practice of illegal land grabbing is increasing at an alarming rate in many parts of the country. Emmanuel Shuocha has more details in this report.
Speaking in an interview, Chipungu warned political party zealots and individual citizens who have illegally acquired land using force, intimidation, or corruption to desist from such acts. The minister emphasized that Malawi is a country governed by law and that the Land Act must be respected by all citizens, regardless of their political affiliation or social status. Chipungu further announced that the ministry has issued a 14-day ultimatum to all individuals who illegally grabbed land to reverse their actions and return the land to its rightful owners.
People should stop it, or that grabbed land should give back the land. All that were affected should come and report to us, and they are going to give them back the land that were taken off them in an appropriate manner.
Some of the areas reportedly affected by land grabbing include Kanengo, Area 3 Market, and several other locations across the country. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, this is Emmanuel Juocha.
Malawi's inflation has declined following a drop in food prices, particularly maize, with the Reserve Bank of Malawi (RBM) attributing the easing trend to improved food supply and favorable production prospects, raising hopes for a gradual improvement in the cost of living. Reserve Bank of Malawi spokesperson Boston Maligeti Banda described the development as encouraging, saying the fall in maize prices has significantly contributed to easing inflation, which is largely driven by food costs. We have more details on this report filed by Gift Kalunga.
Luntha TV Reserve Bank of Malawi spokesperson Boston Maligeti Banda said the decline in inflation is largely driven by falling food prices, especially maize, which remains the biggest contributor to overall inflation in the country. He expressed optimism that the trend will be sustained due to good rains and positive maize production projections, adding that continued easing of food prices is expected to improve the cost of living despite potential pressures from imported non-food commodities.
See that we are receiving good rains and the projections of our food production, especially maize, is going to be very good. We hope that it's going to continue to be very good, and with that the inflation should decline further.
Starting with Banda, economic expert Chris Mbukwa said the decline in inflation is mainly due to reduced food inflation, noting that food carries the largest weight in the Malawi's inflation basket. He observed that maize prices have remained moderate this season and attributed this partly to government interventions, including the importation of maize. He added that while food inflation may start to rise around March, the onset of harvests across most parts of the country is likely to keep the prices moderate for the next 6 months.
I don't expect a huge relief, probably a marginal one, because most of the diets of most Malawians, maize accounts for maybe like 50-60% of the food on the table for most Malawians. So we can say marginally we expect some relief, but that's not enough to alleviate the prices, high prices of commodities that most households are facing. So it's not only food prices that households are facing. We are talking of prices of different commodities.
Meanwhile, Malawi's inflation eased to 27.9% in November 2025, down from 29.1% in October 2025, marking a 1.2 percentage point decline, largely driven by slower increases in food prices as maize costs moderated. For Luntha News, this is Gift Kalunga.
Remember that you're watching news coming to you live from Bishop Navy Media Center, and today with me, Tandy Wenzumara. Before we proceed with our news, let's have another look at the headlines. Pope Leo XIV meets with Venezuelan opposition leader in a surprise audience. Anti-Corruption Bureau ACB awaits cabinet nod for lifestyle audit manual. Food price drop drives inflation decline as Reserve Bank of Malawi assures of improved cost of living. And in other news, Uganda shuts down internet ahead of election, orders rights groups to halt work. Proceeding with the news, the Inspector General of Malawi Police Service, Richard Chakubaleza Luhanga, has assured police officers that they will continue rewarding those who perform their duties with professionalism and dedication. Luhanga made these remarks as the Malawi Police Service promoted Sergeant Fred Nkata to the rank of Sub-Inspector in recognition of his bravery during an undercover operation that led to the shooting and arrest of an armed robbery suspect over the weekend at Mbore Township in Lilongwe. We have more details on this report filed by Patrick Cooper.
Two police officers who were operating undercover successfully ambushed armed criminals who had been terrorizing people around the Mbowe and Sidemo areas, particularly targeting ATM users. During the operation, one officer lawfully shot a suspect in the leg before arresting him. In recognition of their outstanding operational performance, the Inspector General of Police invited the two officers to his boardroom at the National Police Headquarters, where he commended them for executing a well-coordinated operation that neutralized a serious criminal threat.
I've always said this, that we're going to reward people based on performance. And this is the kind of performance that we need. You should see they were so courageous, they were selfless, they used their own 99 initiatives to do and arrest the problem at Mbowe. As Inspector General, I can't just sit quiet but celebrate with them. That's why I've decided to promote them. This should go as a sign to all police officers that if they do a good job, we'll notice it and we'll reward them accordingly.
The promotion took effect on 12 January 2026. For Luntha News, this is Patrick Pupa.
The Malawi Prison Service, MPS, says it is committed to ensuring that inmates and the remanded across the country live in a safe and conducive environment while serving their sentences. Speaking in an interview, Malawi Prison Service spokesperson Steve Meke said prisons in Karonga and Chitupa districts have been facing serious congestion, a situation that has prompted the construction of additional cell blocks to ease pressure on existing facilities. He explained that construction works are currently underway at Karonga Prison, where 2 additional cell blocks are being built to reduce overcrowding and improve the welfare of inmates. Our reporter Emmanuel Hirocha caught up with Meke.
The first cell block funded by the Constituency Development Fund and of course Dr. Kim of Crops of Love Ministries, whilst the second one is funded by the European Union. The 2 cells will give enough accommodation to inmates at Karonga Prison once completed, but at the same time decongest Chitupa Prison, which is currently keeping remandees meant for Karonga Prison.
In sports, Mbira Mudzimatu founding director Shimango Muntali has encouraged former football players in the country to take full advantage of the skills development training program introduced by the Football Legends Association in partnership with Ebenezer Investments. Muntali made these remarks during the training session, emphasizing that the initiative is designed to open doors to business and entrepreneurial opportunities, noting that not all retired footballers can transition into coaching or sports administration roles. Patrick Pupa has filed this report.
The Football Legends Association, in collaboration with Ebenezer Investments, has launched the first phase of a skill development program aimed at empowering retired football players. Speaking at the official opening, Mudzimatu founding director Chimango Muntali said the initiative strongly aligns with their mission of supporting former footballers to become self-reliant after retirement.
The overall target is not just the football legends. As you know, the football legends, they'll need more. Because apart from the education, the skill sets that are being given right now, they'll still need some financing.
Meanwhile, Football Legends Association General Secretary Gomezani Mchawi said the association remains committed to improving the welfare and livelihoods of retired players through such empowerment programs. The inaugural cohort comprises 8 former football players, including former Mighty Tigers coach Leo Mpulula, ex-Silver Strikers midfielder Itai Nundwe, former Flames defender Alan Kamanga, and former Kamus Barras goalkeeper Lehman Ntala. Ebenezer Investment has invested 8 million kwacha in the first cohort, with the training expected to run for 1 month. For Luntha News, this is Patrick Pupa.
Now, in other news, Ugandan authorities have cut internet access and limited mobile services nationwide 2 days before Thursday's presidential election, in which President Yoweri Museveni is seeking a 7th term after nearly 4 decades in power. The Uganda Communications Commission, UCC, ordered mobile service providers to shut down public internet access from 6 p.m. Tuesday, citing the need to curb misinformation, disinformation, and electoral fraud, according to a letter seen by Reuters. Opposition leader Bobi Wine has recently warned that he will call for mass protests if the election is rigged. The 81-year-old Museveni is widely expected to win, while the 43-year-old Bobi Wine is mounting his second presidential bid following a violence-hit 2021 election marred by allegations of fraud. We have more details in this African News report read by Faris Chizombe.
Bobi Wine has insisted that the opposition is winning popular support, but has also questioned whether power would be peacefully transferred. Since he was cleared to run in the election in September, Wine's campaign convoy has frequently been met with tear gas, roadblocks, and arrest of supporters. Campaign events are regularly disrupted, with people abruptly dispersing and roads sealed off. While the violence has not reached the deadly levels of the 2021 election, when more than 50 people were killed and hundreds of Bobi Wine supporters were detained following spontaneous protests in the capital, Kampala, the campaign environment has become increasingly militarized, defined by calculated depletion, intimidation, and a steadily shrinking space for Bobi Wine to sell his manifesto, analysts have observed. Bobi Wine, 43, is contesting for a second time in Thursday's election after he finished as the runner-up in the 2021 polls. Museveni won that last disputed vote, during which Bobi Wine alleged fraud and urged citizens to reject the results. The 81-year-old incumbent has ruled the country for nearly 4 decades after capturing power following a rebel war and is seeking a 7th term in office. 5 other candidates are also in this year's race, in which 21.6 million registered voters are expected to cast their votes.
And that story brings us to the end of what we had for you in this edition of our news bulletin. But before we go, here's a reminder of the headlines. Pope Leo XIV meets with Venezuelan opposition leader in a surprise audience. Anti-Corruption Bureau ACB awaits cabinet nod for lifestyle audit manual. Food price drop drives inflation decline as Reserve Bank of Malawi assures of improved cost of living. And in other news, Uganda shuts down internet ahead of election, orders rights groups to halt work. My name is Tandy Zumara. Thank you so much for keeping me company, and do continue following the rest of our programs right here on Luntha TV. Now, just a reminder that you can also find these news and many other programs on our social media platforms. We are on Facebook at Luntha Television and on YouTube at Luntha TV Official. So do make sure to follow and like those pages for news and many more programs. And from us, it's goodbye for now, and do take care.